I was at the Aldeburgh Poetry Festival in November. I went to see Robin Robertson do a talk about the poet David Jones, and it was odd because outside it was really, really cold, November in Suffolk, and in the room where Robin was doing his talk, it was red hot. It was really warm. People were sweating. People were fanning themselves with slim volumes. And it struck me, or even big volumes, it struck me that what was happening was that Robin was actually creating, through the power of his words, his own microclimate. And it struck me that maybe that's what the best poets do. That somehow it can be cold outside or it can be hot. But you read a poem by a poet like Robin Robertson and somehow it makes its own new weather. There's that great line of Paul Muldoon's, his book called New Weather, and that's what Robin Robertson does. He'll write a poem that is ostensibly about a whirlpool somewhere, but in fact it's about so much more. It's about life, it's about death, it's about poetry, it's about how you write, it's about how you read. It seems to me that as you read his poems, they sort of alter your perceptions of what's happening outside and inside. So it could be Aberdeen in 1964, at the time of the typhoid outbreak. Each ice puddle's broken plate cracked to a star, or a baked US landscape where the dead jackrabbit has died flat as wood like a Texas cricket bat. And this really is making worlds with magic, and also, as you read them, really, really creating their own microclimate. Please welcome Robin Robertson.
Hill of Doors begins and ends in a walled garden. Annunciation, this first poem, is set in the Garden of the Virgin and has in mind the fresco by Fra Angelico in Florence. Annunciation. He has come from the garden, leaving no shadow, no footprint in the dew. They hold each other's gaze at the point of balance, everything streaming towards this moment, streaming away. A word will set the seed of life and death, the overshadowing of this girl by a feathered dark, but not yet, not quite yet. How will she remember the silence of that endless moment, or the end when it all began, the first of 7 joys before the 7 sorrows? She will remember the after song because she is only human. One day she'll wake with wings, or wake and find them gone. There are very few autobiographical poems in this collection, but I'll read one of them about my childhood in Aberdeen on the northeast coast of Scotland, so that you can all feel sorry for me. It's called 1964. According to Philip Larkin, sexual intercourse had begun the year before, but that news certainly hadn't reached us. And anyway, I was only 8 years old. What had arrived, as Ian has pointed out, was typhoid. And I remember that's how it was back in those days. You'd get the sex and we'd get the disease. Anyway, this is about the cold fishing town that I found myself in. The poem has 8 sections, each one grimmer than the last. 1964. Under the gritted lid of winter, each ice puddle's broken plate cracked to a star. The morning assembling itself into black and white, the slow dawn its developing tray. Cold steams off the grass. The frosted yarrow and sea holly smoke in the new sun. In the barber shop mirror, I study this museum of men through glass. Their shaving brushes, talc and whetted razors, the bottles of bay rum, hair tonic, astringents, long leather strops, those faded photographs of hairstyles, that blue barbicide jar on the counter, dense with pickled combs and scissors like a failed aquarium. The special drawer full of Durex, copies of Parade. The plane from England scores a skater's track across the icy sky. On the promenade, frost thistles the railings. You hear the drawl of the wave, the gulls raucous at their bins. The day's first Labrador, his tail flogging the surf. The quarantine city lies behind, bilge deep in cobbles, listing, flying the yellow jack, typhoid in its quick work. On the floor of the butcher's, blood has rolled through the sawdust and become round and soft. We found the blood buds in corners as the shop was closing and gathered the biggest ones in handkerchiefs to take them to the woods, break them open for their jelly. In the light from the blaze, there's a fox nailed to the fence post, the tricked god hanging from his wounds. We have nothing to feed to the fire's many beaks, but some mealy apples and a bottle of Hayes lemonade, which explodes. I dig in my pockets and find a Salvation Army picture of Jesus, tender it to the flame. We'd skip school lunches for some milk, a rowie and a mutton pie, a twist of penny sweets, foam bananas, licorice sticks. On special days, some hard bonfire toffee and a lucky bag, watching the third years fight in the kirkyard in among the graves. One boy holds the other's hair so he can kick him in the face. Creels are swung from boat to shore, filling fish boxes in silver rows, a slush of ice and gulls all day till nightfall. Then all you hear is the ice tightening back together and the cats crying that dreadful way they have, like the sound of babies singing lullabies to other babies. I knew how children came, so I look for the stork in the cliffs over the mussel pools, in the quarry ledges, the chimney stacks, all along the walking pylons, search for her everywhere, in the gantries of the storm woods, in the black pines, that she might take me back. Someone once said that my stuff was all just about drink, sex, and death, which I'm not sure is true. What I do know is that it's very important to keep them in that order. Or at least to make sure that you leave death to the end. This is a cautionary tale about the perils of all three, really, but mostly the perils of drink. Party time. You were quite the vision last night, I remember, before my vision went. And I was left instead with this falling corridor of edges, the greased slipway and its black drop, that glint of fracture in the faces, in the disco balls, pellets of light. In the long whiskies I threw back, short and hard. Streeling I was, and streeling I went through some heavy gate I came across and left the world on the other side, the dark slowly carving over me on the white slope, on the sledge of night. You liked my sensitive hands, you said, but my hands are empty. I will give you everything, but have nothing to give. And now I'll fall back on instinct, compass, the ghost in the sleeve, find my way home to a place so small I can barely stand. The city has flooded, emptied, flooded again. I don't know where I am. Your door is near, someone laughed. Just around that corner. The frightened boy climbed out of me and ran. And I'll finish back in a garden. This is my only cheerful poem, and it's therefore very short. The key. The door to the walled garden, the place I'd never been, was opened with a simple turn of the key I'd carried with me all these years.
Thank you very much indeed, Robin, and I think you'll agree with me. We've had 10 marvellous readings from 10 marvellous poets. I don't envy the judges trying to decide. We'll know the results tomorrow night. Maybe you've all got your favourites. Maybe you can listen to the radio tomorrow and work out if you were right or wrong. Meanwhile, still the poets will be there tonight signing their books at the booksellers downstairs. But please join me in thanking our 10 wonderful readers tonight. Thank you.